Hi, I'm Rick Thompson. I'm a therapist here in Austin, Texas, and was asked to talk a little bit about dependent personality disorder. And I have some, responses to that. And again, learning about dependent personality disorder is well-researched disorder. It's in the DSM-5. There are some characteristics of that disorder, but I've branched out from that, thinking about dependency in general and other disorders that have a tendency to butt up against, dependent personality disorder as a traditional, well-researched disorder. Two others that I think about. One comes out of the addiction literature from the 1980s, and it's still a popular title, which is called counterdependency, and the other is called codependency. Both of those come out of the addiction literature. Codependency, I see, and this is my response, is a three-prong interlocking disorder. Three-prong meaning there's three parts of it that lock together. In codependency, one of it, of course, is dependent personality disorder. I need you. I need you to be happy, to be content, to be okay. Dependency is part of it. Another part of it is a sense of depression, that I'm sad. So if I'm connected with somebody, then I feel better, and they feel better. So that's sort of a depressive motif that plays into that disorder as well. The third part is an interesting part in codependency is a masochism. I'm tortured in the service of the other, that I'm providing for you in this very loving and giving way, because I'm dependent on you as you're dependent on me, but I'm tortured by it. But the torture seems to be important, and it weaves into who I am as a person. So in a sense, codependency has these three relatively interlocking disorders that come into play, and they play in very nicely because they seem to work. As long as I have someone that I can count on who needs me, I think I'm going to be sad and debilitated. But it's important and it's essential for my self-esteem to be miserable in the process. The other one, the last one, which I think has been in the literature for a long time, we don't see it very much, is what we call counterdependency. I need you to need me. And for a counterdependent, a person who sort of takes that, stream in dependency, is they seek out people who are needy, dependent, and want to rely on someone. And the counterdependent person is someone who says, I'm reliable. You can really count on me. And in fact, you need to, because I need you to need me. When you need me, I feel good about myself. It improves my self-esteem. I enjoy that. However, in counterdependency, as soon as someone individuates and decides they can make their own choices and their own decisions, then the person who's counterdependent finds them to be incorrigible and tries to kind of call them back into the counterdependent hoop. You really can't live without me. You really need to be engaged with me because I take care of you and you don't take care of me. For the counterdependent, these are people who probably have difficulty acknowledging any kind of suffering, any kind of depression or moodiness. In fact, there's a little bit of a narcissistic edge to it. I need you to need me. And I feel good when you feel badly and dependent on me. So a good counterdependent can call into their web of help very codependent or very dependent kinds of people. So, that's my 5-minute Rickism synopsis. Rickism simply means I've constructed this in my own clinical work, in my own brain, to think about the kind of dependent I have sitting on the couch across from me. Do they have dependent personality disorder? Do they have codependency with a lot of suffering and a lot of need to be needed in a way, but there's a lot of torture and depression in it? Or are they counterdependent, where they need to be needed, but they're very engaged and narcissistic about being needed, and they seek out others. Now, a good counterdependent is someone who's not going to seek out therapy very often, and in fact, they usually come in as part of a couple, where they have one member of the couple is very dependent and needy and perhaps codependent, and the other member of the couple is the counterdependent who says, well, I brought him in because he's not doing well at work, and he's slipping with his recovery program, or he's having difficulty with his children from another relationship, and I really want to get things in line, so here in therapy, I want you, the therapist, to help him become a better partner for me, who's working very, very hard to keep him going. So that's really the counterdependent response to the world. They're difficult to treat because they're never the patient, they're always the helper. Thanks.